I want to apologize in advance. During the video, there will be a change of scenery and lighting. As I was editing, I realized that the last part of my video was muted because the mic died. Sorry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Legislation Lattes. I'm so excited. This has been in the works for such a long time, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. My name is Amia Matthews, and I'm a rising third-year political science scholar at the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. So exciting. And this podcast is simply just to break down complex political conversations for people who aren't as politically educated or in the know with politics and what's going on in our country or around the world politically, and just make it to where you guys can have everyday conversations or understand what's going on the news in your type of lingo and just that mindset without having to have your brain scrambled like eggs when you hear all these big terms and talking about things you just don't know about. So this is just honestly to be a translator for my generation, so that they can be a part of the change. Because if you're not a part of the change, you're not helping everybody who needs it. And most of the time, we are the people who need it because we are going to be affected the most by what's going on and what's changing within the government. Today's conversation is very near and dear to my heart and probably really near to your heart if you or somebody that you love go to an HBCU. Today we're going to be talking about how the current state of the government is affecting historically Black colleges and universities. We're going to be talking about funding, policy neglect, and fake promises that are made during election season. And of course, while we're talking, I'm going to be making me a latte, and today's latte is going to just be a simple iced vanilla chai latte. So the political tea is going to be hot, but the real tea is going to be cold. Let's get into it. Here is the chai concentrate that I made earlier, and I'm going to be testing it out today while we talk about this stuff. Now, let's get to the root of the issue, because it didn't just start in 2024 and now we're just addressing it. This has been happening since the moment that HBCUs have been founded. See, they were founded to give African Americans a chance at higher education when we weren't allowed to go to school with our white counterparts. And I guess you can guess from that, they weren't trying to give us a lot of money to begin with, and they still aren't trying to give us a lot of money now. Fast forward to right now, there's over 100 HBCUs across the country, and within those 100 plus HBCUs, they produce 10% of all Black college students, 40% of Black engineers, 50% of Black lawyers, and 80% of Black judges. Now, if you just thought about all those numbers, the math is not mathing at all, and the struggle is real. All right, I gotta find the funnel so I can funnel this tea and tell y'all the tea, but I don't have the funnel, so I need to look for her. Found it. You're probably wondering what's really going on at the federal level. Oh, wait, I just spilled the tea. But like I was saying, the U.S. Board of Education and Congress are supposed to allocate funds towards minority-serving institutions such as HBCUs, which there have been a couple of wins, like during COVID. There was a little boost for pandemic relief towards HBCUs, which was $5.7 billion. But ever since then, yeah, what you just heard. Well, in 2003 and again in 2024, the government went into budget cutting, and for some reason, when it's time to cut budgets, education is the first thing they go to look at, as if education is not how they got their jobs. It makes zero sense. Education is literally the origin story for literally anyone. You have to go to school. It's literally mandatory for you to go to school, but that's the first thing they want to cut when it's time to save money. Like, there are other places to pull money from. But I digress. So when they cut the budgets, anything that had to do with HBCUs obviously was at the top of their list when it came to taking money. So anything that went into student loan relief, campus modernization, STEM programs, anything was either gutted or it's stuck in a political gridlock that will probably end up gutted as well. But right now they're trying to act like it's still in the works when we really know that they're just doing that so it's performative, whatever. But like I said, why are we cutting education if you guys literally needed it to get your jobs? And why are the HBCUs always the first pick? And because of how split the federal government is right now, bipartisan support of HBCUs honestly is just more performative than it is productive. And so we're getting applause at press conferences, but no checks are being signed. We're not getting what we're being promised. It's not like we're asking for favors. It's not like we're asking you guys for handouts. We're literally just asking what you guys owe us and what you guys have promised us so that you can win your campaign or get the votes you want. But after we help you, it's like, you're not helping us. I don't understand. We don't understand. Do you understand? Because I don't. Now let's get into state government because schools like FAMU, Southern, Prairie View, and NCAT are all public universities which rely heavily on state government for funding. But if you look at the numbers, it's low-key disrespectful, I'm not going to lie. But the Biden administration did call out 16 of the states that were not equitably funding their HBCUs. And let me stop you there. Before you think, 16 out of 50 is not bad. Only 21 states house HBCUs. So that's 16 out of 21, not 50. Not 50. The other 39 or 29, they're not a part. I'm a political science scholar, not a math scholar. Okay, let's start there. So the other 29, they don't have nothing to do with this. Kind of, but not really. Another topic. But yeah, the other 5, yeah, they're doing a good job. They're probably doing bare minimum. But the 16, they're not. And if you look, there's over $30 billion worth of missing money, missing because of how much they're just not giving their HBCUs. Like TSU alone is missing $2.1 billion. And then FAMU missed out on hundreds of $1 million compared to its neighboring predominantly white institutions, specifically the one that we share an engineering school with. Does that make sense? Meanwhile, HBCUs are producing more with less. We're producing more grads, we're producing more educators, we're producing more innovation with messed up dorms, lack of funding, not a lot of space. Like if you've ever been to FAMU, you'll see that literally the space that we have compared to FSU is just ridiculous. Not calling out FSU, not starting any beef, but like that's on the government. Like it's genuinely insane. And it's like we produce so much. And it's because that our legislators are people who honestly not only probably don't care, but they don't know the significance of an HBCU. They probably couldn't even tell you what HBCU stand for. So how can we expect them to give us what we need when they don't even know what we're there for? They probably just think just there for fun, and we're not. We do have fun, but that's not all we're there for, and we're not getting the money to produce what we can. We're doing enough for what we can and what we have, but we're not. If we had the same funding as FSU and the same space, the same attention, the same the same as anything of FSU, we would literally be running the world. I'm telling you. But our legislators, they don't know and they probably don't care. Now you're probably wondering, well, I see politicians they want to do better for HBCUs. Like during their campaign, they talk about how much they want to help. Okay, yeah, they come to our campus and they take selfies with us and they shout out our marching band and they hang out with us all homecoming weekend. But once they get elected, they forget to follow through with what the promises that they came out with. Like, we're still studying outdated science labs. We're still waiting on our scholarships to be dispersed, our student aid to be dispersed, and we're also living in dorms that haven't been renovated in like 20 years. A tweet is really cute, but legislation is so much better. So skip the tweet and get in the office and do the work that you promised us. Now, let's make it a little bit personal because I feel like when people use statistics to talk about things like this, people don't actually think about the people who are living behind the statistics, the people who make up the numbers, the people who are depending on financial aid, Pell Grants, and student loans. Like, there are literally people who are literally surviving off of this stuff. And then these are people who are going to graduate into the debt that they had to take out because they're pushed into higher education because that's the route we're shown from an early age. We're shown we graduate high school, we go to college, but they don't tell us about the interest rates of the student loans we have to take out or how much college is. They don't tell us any of that. They wait until there's literally no turning back to tell us that. And when there are policy changes in Capitol Hill and in the government, that trickles down to us very, very fast. So if FAFSA changes, that's on us. If student loan forgiveness is not passed, that's us graduating into debt. We're literally in debt unless we're still going to school. And who wants to go to school for the rest of their life? Eventually, we have to graduate and go get a job, and the jobs are not paying us enough to pay off the debt. And then the debt that's collecting interest. So it sits in that little website that you're looking at, and it's like, oh, here's what you owed when you first got it, but here's what you owe now because it's been 5 years and we've been collecting the debt. So HBCU students are literally being affected, and the government's just giving out statistics, and they're not thinking about the people who are actually being affected by all of this. HBCU students are some of the most brilliant, resilient, and powerful people in the country who deserve the same amenities as every other campus in the country. You're probably wondering, what can you do? Well, first, you can pay attention. Pay attention to the news, or you can stay tuned into this podcast to stay updated on all the things that are happening in the political state of the world. Second, you can push for federal funding. You can always use your voice, and you can vote for the politicians who are advocating for federal justice, for the laws, the bills passing. You could just stay active in your community with voting at your local elections, within your state, within your city, your county, and just making sure that you're utilizing your voice in all ways and aspects of the political state of the world. This has been Legislation and Lattes, where we mix matcha and government, matcha and justice, and today, chai and truth. Remember to tag a friend at HBCU and share this with your campus group chat. And keep asking the real questions like, where is the funding? Stay caffeinated, stay informed, and stay unstoppable. Bye.